people get lost in the metrics and the numbers all the time, but single channel agencies need to either grow, expand, and pivot, or you will be dead. Because if you don't understand the full picture, like the days of I can look and make your Facebook dashboard look as sexy as possible, are just gone. Like you just need to be able to understand how that's affecting the whole ecosystem.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Unstoppable Marketer podcast. With me, as always, is my co-host, business partner, Mark Goldhart. How are you, Mark?
Great.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Finally cut my hair, so.
You brought your dog to the office. I thought you were going to bring him to the podcast.
I should have. But we have a guest today.
We do have a guest, and we have a bunch of nice cameras.
And I'm a dog person, but like I'm not like a dog is a person.
Oh.
Thank you.
That's a rude statement to some people. Some people could be mad about that.
I am my dog's master. I'm not his parent.
Mark's getting political again.
Yeah. Speaking of.
Hey, it's okay. If you view your dog, you can do you. That's just me.
Trying to back out of it.
Well, we have a guest.
My dog is for sure my pet.
We have a guest today, and this guest is, so we have officially.
Two-time.
Yeah. A two-time guest. We've only done this one other time.
Who is that?
So you are our second
Carmelo.
two-time guest.
It was London Lazarson. You commented on one of his
the other day you stole my line about seating. That's fine.
Was that your line?
Sour Boss final boss sour.
Sour.
Sorry, I'm dyslexic.
London Lazarson.
You didn't steal anything. It's not trademarked.
Yeah, Cody thinks that he invented product seating.
Because I did.
So, anyways, we got Cody Wittick here. He is
he productized it.
The co-founder, co-CEO of Kynship, which is our biggest competitor. And why we have him on the podcast to promote his business, we don't know. Just kidding. Welcome, dude. How are you?
I hope that's never the case.
You know, that's
good, man.
That's the beauty about agency work is what's funny in the brand side of things. Brands cannot be friends with each other,
even though they should
when they're quote unquote competition, right? Like especially in Utah, bro. Like Utah we did a whole episode on this. Like is the most petty when it comes to like, oh, you're selling a bag, then you are my mortal enemy, right? Whereas like in the agency world, and maybe it's because like you can only manage so many clients, right? When there's 30, when there's, I don't know, how many e-commerce companies out there, like hundreds of thousands, like, and you can only imagine, you can only manage so many of them. But when you're talking about 50,000 to 100,000 eligible e-commerce agencies or e-commerce companies versus like, I'm selling bags to what possibly could be 100 million people.
Yeah.
Like I still think like the ratios are the same. Ish.
No, it's far more of a zero-sum game on the agency side. That's why it's funny.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
It's more of a zero-sum game on the agency side than it is on the brand side. But the brand side, like for some reason, people have a really hard time working with brands.
Yeah.
In the same category.
Category.
Yeah.
Whereas like agency, like I don't think I've ever once deemed you as like competition.
Just internally.
Yeah, just internally. I deem you as Twitter competition. Cody's Twitter famous.
No. What is Twitter famous?
Actually,
anymore?
I don't deem that because I don't know how to do it.
No, I mean,
I'm not a Twitter
just
guy,
the other day, someone's like, oh, we recommended Kynship to a company. And we're like, yeah. They'll probably kill it for you guys.
Yeah. It's very true. We gave him a thumbs up.
Comes around.
We gave him a thumbs up on it.
It was
Joseph.
It was your worst client that was that you hated working with, and you're like, yeah, go work with them, please.
Go to Kynship.
They'll do great.
They'll do great.
They have this cost cap thing that you're gonna love.
That's true. Yeah.
No, but yeah, we had Cody on like probably a couple of years ago. Yeah. Now
seems like.
And all we talked about was influencers at the time. It was actually a great podcast.
That was a great podcast.
It was a really good podcast, and still would be great, I think, today. Like it wasn't like we were talking like, hey, go find an influencer, pay him $20,000 to post. Like we weren't talking about that. We were talking about seeding.
I think that's when you invented product seeding.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking about.
No one had heard of that term before. So.
Yeah, I gotta find that comment that he like. I just saw this like pop up that on my Instagram that said, "I've heard this before" or something like that.
Something sarcastic.
And
it's my love language.
I think I said I invented this or something like that back to him, but.
So anyways,
welcome. Came in. He flew
Thanks for having me.
He flew in from California
Literally
just to
just
be
for
here
this.
with us.
thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate
In
it.
person.
Just to meet your
That's
dog.
why I got you a 32-ounce iced coffee.
Mark doesn't drink coffee. We asked Cody, "What do you want to drink?" And he's like, "I'll have a coffee." And then he brought a big gulp.
Well,
back for him.
Pretty much.
Hey, he said surprise me,
That is true. He did, and you did surprise him.
and I did surprise you.
I think he
You
delivered.
just look like a coffee drinker.
Mission accomplished. I know. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do kind of have that look about you. Even the
Hey, right.
hat today,
Yeah.
a little more munchy.
Well, when I go to lunch with my buddies, you know, I'm the one who probably looks like, you know, maybe puffing on the reefer and partying, but I'm like
You're a straight-less guy.
going home to 3 kids and
Getting in bed at 9 o'clock.
going to bed at like 9:30.
I'm not very different from you, so
You know,
coffee's not a gateway drug, just so you know.
no, it isn't. But
But
was a
don't
good
drink
eat
big
on.
gulps of it.
I don't look
But
like
don't drink big. Yeah, don't drink 64
I look
ounces
maybe
of
like
coffee.
more on
Yeah.
the hipster, drink coffee in the morning,
Yeah.
go enjoy bowl at the beach at night,
Yeah.
Sound bath in the midday.
sound bath and sound bath circles.
Sound bath midday.
I'm a sound therapy guy.
Nice.
Put on that white noise when I'm trying to focus. 80 hertz is what they say.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Cody. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, let's do this. We don't need to hear a ton about you and your background
Because we don't care.
because it's already happened and nobody cares. Well, actually,
Put it in the
give
show
us,
notes.
give us a little bit of background so somebody cares about because this is what we want to do on the podcast today. You have 3 people who have 2 very unique experiences. Number 1, all 3 of us have been on the brand side of 8-figure businesses,
Yeah.
right? Working to grow and scaling them from 7 to 8. We all 3 of us have that experience. We've all been brand owners. And number 3, we all own e-commerce company, a marketing agency that works with brands from every different kind of walk and industry. So we are seeing the pitfalls. We're seeing the basics done well. We're seeing how there are certain things that are becoming irrelevant that once were very relevant. And I think we kind of just all sat down like 2 seconds before the podcast, and Cody said, "What are we talking about?" And we said, "Let's just like
Whatever we want to.
let's just jam about."
John Stockton, Carmelone.
Yeah. We said the pick and roll.
Yeah.
You know, the pick and rolls of marketing. What are the pick and rolls? So anyway, okay. So I've already kind of given the background. Tell us a little bit about Kynship really quickly.
E-commerce growth agency.
Love it. Done.
That's it. E-commerce growth agency. I mean, I can tell you our taglines.
I'd love that.
You taglines? Okay.
Yeah, give us a tagline.
We sell a system, not a set of services.
System, not services.
System over services.
Love it.
What I mean by that is we design something that's backed into your top line and bottom line goals. So we don't like piecemeal out our services. So it's not like come and, I just want to do influencer seeding, which is kind of like what we talked about. So it's kind of part of the core. Obviously there's a little bit of wiggle and waggle in there. But yeah, so we have a set of systems. It includes financial forecasting, creative, media buying. And yeah, we've expanded a ton since I was last doing
talk.
this virtually.
Nice.
Not in person.
One of the things we love most about Kynship is like they share very similar models that we share around like marrying finance to marketing.
Yeah.
Like we're very, very similar in how we look at things,
Yep.
which is really nice. So, but yeah, all right. Well, let's jump into it.
Hot takes.
What do you want? Like, what's hot take number 1?
I don't know. There's a
You
lot.
have good hot takes.
Do I?
Yeah. You just
they're-
think a little more outside the box.
They're kind of like always in the moment though, so I'm like trying to think. But I think we could just start off with what we're seeing
Yeah.
lately
Please.
and what seems to be maybe a mental leap for a lot of people that they haven't had to take is what is the most important metric, right? A lot of companies are caught up with ROAS. And we think ROAS is fundamentally flawed, depending on your goal as a company.
Well,
It can be crucial if you are trying to maintain a quote efficiency, if you're trying to, cash flow, it depends. But overall, ROAS is just one measure on your dashboard.
Can I add another metric to that as well, which is CPA?
Yeah, CPA. Yeah, CPA, ROAS. Two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. So, do you want to give your rationale around it, or do you want to hear from
You're
Cody?
just setting the scene.
I'm just setting the scene. I just think too many brands are too focused on a ROAS metric.
Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
When they're trying to grow, when they say what their goal is.
Yeah, I would say that it seems to be like this marketing term of like having a high ROAS is like this like marketing promised land that you're trying to get to.
Badge of honor.
Yeah, when I would just say actually you want as low as, and I would say AMER, so acquisition, MER, so NC ROAS is another term that we use, but
New customer.
AMER, yeah, just focus on new customer revenue over ad spend, but having as low as AMER as possible is actually the hack, because I can just like if we think about ad auction dynamics, if you're competing and trying to go after a 4 and I'm just going after a 1,
the one's going to win.
Who wins?
Yeah. It's like all day long. So like we have a client right now, their target is a 0.18 AMER. So like by the time their competitors come into the auction, it's like there's nothing left for them to do.
And can I ask you a question really quick? How come they can do that?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things.
Sure.
They're incredible repeat business. They have very low OPEX.
Are they subscription?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously there's like different business models, but there's also other ways that you can affect AMER, like being on Amazon, for example, like channel expansion, where Meta is incredibly incremental to these other channels, and you can actually just track what's happening across the entire business. And that's how we.
My other hot take is never separate Amazon from website.
Yeah.
I think they're both.
I mean, separate it, but
they're both your store.
Yeah, track separately. Yeah.
Track separately, but
yes.
you look at them the same.
Yeah.
Like they are. It is. There's nothing more frustrating as a marketer when an executive says, "Well, our Amazon store is doing this," and it's like, okay, let me look at your bid report, and it's just brand.
Yeah.
But our efficiency over here on .com is
like, where do you think people are finding? Like, you're not like a household item they're searching for on Amazon.
Yeah.
Like, where do you think they're coming from?
Yeah, especially if they're under like $100 million, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
It's like, oh no, like our Amazon's doing this. It's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, we saw you launch Amazon, your store goes down 30%, and that 30% magically appears over in Amazon. Like, what do you think happened? They're just like, nope, didn't happen.
So back to your point on ROAS is meaningless. I mean,
Not
we're
meaningless.
tracking. Yeah, it's not meaningless. Well,
Just not the main.
it's not the
main
hero
thing.
metric of like, I guess maybe 5-10 years ago, where it's like, we're getting a 7 ROAS, and it's like, well, 1, spend more money. 2, it's just not the secret sauce anymore. I would say as low as target as possible. You're just getting way more customers, and outbidding your competitors.
Yeah. I to add to what you're saying, I think one thing that we do, we have a metric that we use a lot too. So we'll use the AMER, right, and the new customer efficiency. But we'll pair that up with what we call our return on contribution margin dollar, right? Where you're looking, so it helps you look at the bottom line where it's bringing in all the returning stuff as well. So that's where what you guys have probably done too is the reason why you've deemed that a 0.18 is okay is because your return on contribution margin dollar, which is just really your profits on variable profits, right? Like as long as that is above a 1 something, you're successful. Right?
Yeah.
And so
I'm not suggesting a first order profitable brand needs to target a 0.18.
Sure.
Like obviously people get lost in the metrics and the numbers all the time, but
the point is you understand the
benchmarks,
that
right?
allows you
Like,
to do that.
yeah, this is why I think actually single channel agencies need to either grow, expand, and pivot, or you will be dead. Because if you don't understand the full picture, like the days of I can look and make your Facebook dashboard look as sexy as possible, are or just gone. Like you just need to be able to understand how that's affecting the whole ecosystem. And that's where I think agencies like ours are incredibly valuable because we're in the trenches with the clients.
Yeah, for sure.
Because to your point, it's like, okay, I could track even first order contribution margin, but if these cohorts aren't behaving how we thought they were, or it's trending downwards, like our AMER target needs to change.
Yeah.
I think cohorts is actually one of the most underrated reports that no one ever looks at.
You are a cohort guy. You love talking cohorts.
I think cohort data is one of the most important dashboards that a brand should be looking at that they never do.
Yeah.
Especially as you're growing, right? Because like what we've seen is sometimes a brand will make a huge mistake where they're going to see, again, they're focusing on CPA or new customer. When I say CPA, I mean like acquisition period, like so just new customers. And they're saying, oh, it's going up. And it's like, okay, well, let's look at your geo report. Let's look at like what's happening for why it's going up.
Yeah.
Like it's going up for now.
Yeah.
But what happens over the long term? And like you'll see that as you enter in, because a lot of people get stuck geographically because it's the pixel data and like sometimes it's like a little sticky. And then sometimes they'll start expanding outside of it. So now your first touch point is ads and your last touch point is ads. So your customer acquisition costs are going to go way up. But sometimes you'll see those lifetime cohorts and it's like, oh, your retention rate from 0 to 1 is 50% higher for these people coming through now. And you want to just like pause, like you just, oh no, I'm scared.
Yeah.
So like, I think you should always, and it sounds like you guys do. It's like, if you have your ear to the ground with cohorts, it makes you can really almost predict the future just by like 0 to 1 for those cohorts.
And it's not just cohorts in,
it's also for products, like type of products.
Yeah, you're
buying.
talking about cohorts, you know, in geographic regions, but like you can also talk about cohorts in months purchased.
Yeah.
Right. You get a ton of people.
So seasonal.
Yeah. You get a ton of people who like, hey, like we got Black Friday coming up. Let's dip spend in October because October generally efficiency really, really sucks. And then if you look at October cohorts and you realize like actually the people who buy in October
all come back in November.
Generally come back in November
Seasonality
and
affects everything,
and absolutely crush it. But most people dip spend in October when they actually could maybe be cranking.
Well,
spend.
they should be cranking it because like
of them should be, not all.
If
of them,
you can get people to come back for your sale, like the best way to do that is they actually like you,
especially if you're a brand that sells on Black Friday.
Yeah,
there's some brands that don't like problem solution stuff that don't really like.
That's
Black
true.
Friday doesn't mean a whole ton to them. That doesn't necessarily need to increase, but yeah, I like cohort data too. You love it though.
I love cohort data.
So important.
What's another overrated metric that you're hearing clients talk a ton about, or are those the main ones? Generally, ROAS, cost per acquisitions.
Yeah, the in-ad account CPA that people still get way too overinvested in.
Why do you think that is? Is it historical?
It's just like habit. I would say like they can't get their eyes off the ad account. It's just really misleading. Yeah. So that's where like incrementality, like sometimes it has to go so far to where we fund incrementality for them to kind of just show. Yeah. Like, and we do our own like linear regression analysis and stuff like that to show them. But yeah, in-ad account CPA, I would say is right up there. It's like, well, it's this, and they just can't. Like, we just try to get our clients as quickly as possible to stop looking at dashboard at all. Yeah. Like, look at your forecast. Look at your
in-platform dashboard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like that.
Well, in fact, we have an account that when we went through the data for incrementality, the two biggest spenders and quote best CPAs in platform, we paused them and their sales the next day went up 500%.
Whoa.
I'm not saying that's going to maintain, but because the incrementality on those two was horrible, right? It was just like, oh yeah, that's not bringing you guys new customers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, here's another question. 7-day click, 1-day view. 7-day click.
7-day click, only click.
I'm a big 1-day view guy. I think I just optimize off 1-day views. Just 1-day view only.
Yeah, 1-day view only. I love that. Love that, man. All of our metrics will go up, baby.
That's why people like us.
Yeah.
1-day view only.
Definitely an old hack of agency world to make our numbers look a lot better, right?
That's like the your ROAS for branded terms in Google version of that. Like, oh yeah, we have a 30 ROI or whatever.
I know there's arguments for it, and I've even talked to like high up people marketing on Facebook, and that make pretty like convincing arguments. And honestly,
for keeping one day view with it.
Yeah, to keeping one day view. Our whole thought process is like, we just want to train the pixel on people that click and buy, ultimately. And then also we just want to, like, when there's a ton of view through attribution, it's usually because they have a ton of organic demand or there's a lot of cross attribution happening, and we just want that out. We want it as close to Shopify as possible. So it just leads, like when we audit ad accounts, it just leads to a lot of confusion for people. So we're just like, we're trying to get it out, 7-day click, 1-day click if it's like an impulse buy. But
Sure.
Do you like looking at 28-day click attribution in platform?
yeah.
I actually love it.
Yeah. We do that. I mean, we do that delayed.
I know you can't
attribution
optimize off it, but
multiplier. Yeah.
you can look at it.
For sure. I mean, it's what your ads are driving, right?
Yeah.
It's like in a 7-day click campaign, if there's like a 20% lift over the next 21, we should account for that.
Right.
Ultimately, like that's what we want to tie our AMER target to as close to as possible. Ultimately, it's never perfect, especially if they're on Amazon or other marketplaces.
Right.
But
No, Amazon's separate though.
Yeah.
Mark,
Nothing
settle down.
impacts,
Settle down,
Doesn't
Mark.
impact.
Meta ads do not impact.
Keep them going. Keep them firing.
I agree. I prefer 7-day click, but our approach is, it tends to be, I don't want to say nuanced. It's just our approach is sometimes we leave the 1-day view in and we'll A/B test, and then we're tracking this with like also, we'll just use like a third party like GA4 or just Shopify for conversion rates, just to judge by CPC to conversion rate and like true cost per acquisition. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we just see that the 1-day view learns faster. So like if you're starting low, but like the higher you get with spend, I think 7-day click becomes more crucial.
Yeah.
That's what I found. So I don't think it's a one. So I think we're on the same page. 7-day click is superior. But if you are doing 7-day click, 1-day view, you have to always have your attribution window column open to try to figure out what the 1-day view is actually doing. Because like if it's too high and it's taking too much credit, then like you gotta get rid of it.
Got it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like so low that I guess it wouldn't be that much of a problem.
Right.
But like also like high subscription brands, like I've seen this be a problem where they're like their view through is like 2. And so it's like doubling their ROAS, right? And it's like these are just going in front of people that are going to buy anyways. Right. So like let's just get this out.
Yeah, for sure. What about, I got another one that's moving off topic.
Yeah.
What about, we're just hearing this one a lot right now. I'm trying to think the best way to word this. Ad creative impacting how people view someone's brand. Meaning ads must all be
on brand
and beautiful.
Yeah. Define on brand.
I can't.
Well, the question's for you, Cody.
I mean, I would say because we run cost controls, if it's spending, we're going to say that it's on brand. That's kind of like,
but why though?
The most
Explain
basic.
Explain that.
Cost controls. It's the bid is the governor over your spend, not the budget. So if it's entering into the auction, and it's spending. That means it's over a 7-day click. Cost controls. I mean, that gets into the difference of different types of cost controls. Yeah, it's working.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're running highest volume, Meta will tell you spend is the leading indicator of future performance.
Yeah.
So if it's spending, that means it's confident with trillions of data and probabilistic forecasting that it's confident that they can convert customers at your target CPA or bid. And so that's our thought process, is like let Meta determine if it's on brand. Now, like, we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, right? If it's like this piece of creative is no longer in stock, it's a sale-driven content, or God forbid, it's like something like brand negative in the standpoint where it's like they're dogging on you as a brand, or like, but that's most of the time what people are not talking about. They're talking about
a visual
I think
feel.
This is my subjective opinion is like, this is on brand or off brand.
How do you get over that? How do you help clients get over that?
Honestly, one, proof of concept with like, these are ads that probably 90% of people would never launch that, achieved greater performance than what you're performing or hoping for. So do you want pretty or do you want performance? Most people say performance.
They do say performance.
They say performance, but then in practice, they want like the pretty ads to perform well.
Yeah.
Again, that's just the beauty of running cost controls is like, we can just let it, if it's spending, it's going to acquire customers.
Right.
But outside of just like biz strategy and all that stuff, I think that is a hurdle that people need to get over and like loosen the reins a little bit.
Yeah.
The reality is like, especially in an AI world, like, and this is probably another tangent that we can go on, is the ugly ads are going to be the thing that are going to continue to drive your business forward.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be harder and harder to tell what is actually fake versus real. And so actually what is going to be real is something that's not polished, not cookie cutter, not like professionally produced.
What we mean by ugly ads, just to let you guys know, like there are some that legitimately look terrible.
Yeah.
But there's also like more so what ugly ads mean, at least to us, is that it just looks native to the platform.
Sure.
Like it looks like you're just consuming, right? It looks like
what your friends post on their stories.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like where native ad, like that's like an old school term, like native advertising, where it'd be like a newspaper article or something, and it would be like something that looked like a headline in a newspaper. So it looked like you read it as if it was part of the article.
Sure.
And then you're like, oh, wait a second. Delta Airlines is offering 50% off of flights to Cancun. This has nothing to do with my motocross magazine or whatever, So, yeah.
I get that there's certain categories that have to be a little bit more sensitive to it, right? Like, you obviously don't want creative that's going to lead the end customer to a wrong conclusion about your brand. But again, we would say, let's be a little bit more looser than what you may think, because you're the one living in the silo of your own brand every single day. Your customers are, especially if you're, have proper exclusions in place, most of these people are discovering you for the first time. Yeah. So it's like, if they don't open your box the right way, or if they, like some ad.
Who cares?
Yeah.
We call it marketing to marketers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the terminology. It's like, most brand owners
and brand owners sometimes
are marketers.
Yeah.
Just by heart, right? If you're launching a brand, you have to find ways to get to attention, which is marketing. And so like that kind of has to be your number one responsibility.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily creating the product and the brand. Yeah. It's like, I have to get attention on this. So like,
well, the human tendency is to impress your peer group.
Sure.
And that's what we're talking about, is brand owners all fall into a trap at some point where they start trying to impress brand owners.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to impress their customers from a selling standpoint.
I get it. It's their baby. They started the brand. So it's like, do I put my kid in ugly clothes on purpose? Like, it's just in like a very terrible.
Sure.
I mean, I kind of do.
It's we're all parents, and like we all know what it's like to have a kid, and you're, sometimes parents will try to have their kid do something that might make
curate
the parent look better. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best thing for the kid.
Most times.
Right?
Let's not turn this into a therapy session.
Most times.
Hey.
Kids are an extension.
We can talk about it after.
I'm a great friend therapist. If you guys need to unload, just go for it. I'll listen.
You know what?
Take a time out.
But seriously, right? Like, parents will all try to, like, consciously or subconsciously, like sometimes like what you think is right for your kid is really just you trying to make yourself look better.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, clarification too. Most of the time, 99% of the time, we're talking about these piece of ads. It's not what they're producing internally, because they already have a lot of control over that.
Yeah.
So it's like UGC, it's like influencer content, it's what their customers are tagging them in, and they have social listening. So it's like all the stuff that they don't have like in this studio and cookie cutter control over that they're so concerned about.
Totally.
And I would say with this thread, of on brand, off brand is we get over it usually, not always, because everyone says they want performance. And then, of course, eventually they don't want performance. They want it to look a certain way.
Yeah.
But with a brand, like everybody has different sides of their personality. You know, like no one's just like one thing, but like we all, like if you have a friend, your friend is different in different situations.
Right.
And it's okay. It's not bad. It's not bad that he's funny when you go out and he's like a little bit more quiet when you're just like sitting on a couch, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So like the point of an ad is to introduce you to a brand, to make you step into the store, you know, as like we talked about last podcast.
It's the next step.
It's to get you, like, that's why 7-day click is great, right? If you're focusing on the click, it's, hey, we're just focusing on people who are actually wanting to go in the store with the intention of possibly buying.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want to focus on people who just saw it and said, that looks nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And so if your ad is driving people into the store, and then what you said is also key, it's, does the ad build or does it break trust? So what's the expectation? Like people aren't necessarily expecting everything to look exactly the same.
There's also a lot of assumptions that brand owners make, which is like, you're going to remember the ad that you clicked on.
Well, I was just about to bring this up. I don't know if we ever told you this, but so Cody, he met us through us actually pitching. We were pitching him Bestie AI.
Yeah.
Like, hey, use our post-purchase survey platform. And when we first started, we might have even pitched this to you. We thought we had the most brilliant idea, which, by the way, No Commerce ended up taking from us, which was like, let's do we called it creative recall, where like you would take the top, you might have in an ad account, you might have 100 ads running.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, of those 100 ads, half of them are just like the same thing, but with slight tweaks. Mm-hmm. And then of those, 80% of them are going to, the budget is going to what, 5 or 6 of them, you know? And so what would happen is we had the algorithm that would put those ads in. So when somebody selected, when we asked the question, hey, how did you first hear about us?
Right.
And somebody said Facebook. And then we had a follow-up question that said, was it an ad? Was it an influencer? And they select an ad. We would say, we'd put creative recall in that would say, was it one of these ads? And we were like, dang, dude, we are going to bring so much value to creative agencies. And, you know, it's going to put, you know, the big raindrops of the world, like in a spot to be like, people need to work more with us, you know? And we would have like we'd have all the videos, but then we'd also have just a blanket, just statement. So you'd have like the thumbnails of the videos, and then you'd have just a blanket statement that said, I can't remember. And it was like 90% of anyone, for any brand who used it, selected 90%. And immediately we were like, oh, I guess it's a fun sell. Like it helps us sell the platform a little bit. Hey, if you want to do this, but it never did anything for it. You know, which is exactly what you just said.
It's just a lot of assumptions.
Yeah.
Well, just think about how many freaking videos and posts someone sees in a day.
Oh my, yeah. Hundreds.
Like,
I mean, the average person's online like 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Right.
Now there's arguments like, does it matter if they saw 3 and they don't remember, and then they saw 1 they do remember? But ultimately, like no one really remembers. Like they could interact with your brand 4 times and they might not remember.
The quest is just getting the attention. That's really it. And you nailed it, right? If it's spending
attention,
money, it's working.
attention and an action.
Yeah.
Is how I would define it.
For sure.
Fair enough.
For sure.
Attention drives action, hopefully, right? Action eventually
repetition
drives
truth.
Yeah. Nice. Truth drives sales.
Give yourselves more opportunities, not less.
Yeah. More at-bats wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
More shots on goal.
We talked about this in another one. Did you see that Barry Bonds interview? Mm-mm. Where he like mathematically breaks down his approach to batting? I think it's great for marketers because he essentially says, look, like you have, I can't remember how big the actual box is, but it's like, is it 18 inches? The strike zone? Yeah, the strike zone. What is it, 18 inches by
I don't know.
2 feet or something?
Baseball's boring.
In Little League, it's really big.
6 feet high.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Look, as a batter, I know that they have to go into this area. And if all I'm focusing on is winning against one guy, like I can't control everyone on the field. Like I can't fight 10 people at once, but I can say, hey, this guy has to go here. So no matter what, the odds are in my favor over time because he has to eventually arrive where I am.
Yeah.
And as marketers, I think that's brilliant because you can't focus on everyone in the market. You have to focus on what your core persona is, or, you know, your demographic.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's at bats. Like eventually, it doesn't matter if they saw the first ad and don't remember. It's eventually, mathematically, they're going to arrive where you're hitting. And the auction is set up to do that for you. So like the more at bats you're getting, and if you're utilizing the auction, because a lot of people just don't understand the auction at all.
No.
Or just the implicit supply demand curve of attention.
Which goes to what we were talking about, point number 1, right?
Yeah.
Like low AMER target.
Yep.
And eventually you're going to get there. And if you can get there, and you can get there for a quote worse cost than your competitors, like you're going to hit a lot more home runs.
You win.
Yeah.
Period. Or if everyone's focusing on like, I got to get a triple double on every time at the bat, like you're probably striking out all the time.
Those are 2 different sports analogies, but I like it.
Triple double
Or
at bat.
What is it called? The
cycle?
What is it?
A triple?
A triple? Like you get to the third base?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a triple.
Or a runs batted in? Yeah, you're right.
RBI.
RBI.
That's RBI.
You're just throwing out
Runs
baseball
batted
terms
in.
now.
Double play.
Double play?
Yeah.
Double play.
Blitz.
Triple double, and then you get that rebound.
A no-hitter?
off the
A no hitter.
A no-hitter gets you a triple-double.
A triple-double.
Which will help you win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
I was still thinking about John Stockton, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, legend.
Legend.
All right,
On the pitch.
what's the next hot take? I've got another one.
Attribution tools.
You love them?
Zero value. At best, they lead to slight confusion.
And
Zero value.
and-
I don't
less
know
money?
about zero. I'm just saying like it's low on the totem pole.
Well, yeah, I guess what you have to do is like,
Do you think there's any added benefit if you are spending, I mean, if you're, let's just say you're like a high 8-figure, 9-figure brand,
Sure. I definitely
and you're
think,
spending across TV and other things.
Yes.
Do you think there's value there?
Yeah. I just think most people probably listening to this, and also you're just like, you're in the upper echelons. Like if you're Ridge or, you know, Xcloud guys, like, yeah, you got to be doing a lot of different things. And you're also spending on a lot of, like doing a Yankees partnership for anybody listening to this, do not do that.
Right,
Don't go pay Gordon Ramsay, like all these different things. Like there's just a lot of, I know people are inspired by the 9 Ops podcast, but like a lot of their advice, and they say that on the podcast.
Yeah, they're
like,
very clear about that.
Yeah. But, I would just say like, I would throw MMM and MTA tools like into that. Like if you're a $5 million brand, I don't think you should be paying for triple L. Like it's leading to confusion.
well, mainly also like there's an argument to make that like, if you're under 20 million, is there any reason for you to be on more than 1 or 2 channels?
Yeah. Take the words out of my mouth.
Right. So like, could I be spending $5,000 a month on this tool to give me the answer? Well, when I increased Meta 20%, did I see a rise or not in new customer acquisition?
Yeah.
Right.
Mark's
Easy
trying
enough.
to put a little devil's advocate in there.
No, I agree with everything that's been said, actually.
We like some of the attribution
I just think
tool people as well.
Yeah, I don't want to. If they're sponsoring this podcast, then
No,
They're
just blame me.
we have no sponsors.
Oh yeah, that's right, Bestie.
Incorrect. BFF right now.
BFF
sponsoring.
Creative. Oh,
Go check it out.
BFF Creative.
Right now. This episode of The Unstoppable Marketer is brought to you by BFF Creative. Let's be real, hiring designers and video editors can get super expensive, and that's why I'm excited about what BFF Creative has done. They've built a subscription design service that gives you the feel of an in-house creative team, but at a fraction of the cost, which I'm sure we all could use right now. From ad creatives to social media posts, video edits to full website designs, BFF gives you unlimited designs and unlimited requests starting at just $1,000 a month. The best part about this, their custom app makes it super easy to submit projects, give feedback, review work, and store all of your creative in one place. As a listener of the podcast, you get 25% off your first 2 months with code UNSTOPPABLE25. That means unlimited creative for as little as $750 a month. Go check them out right now at bffcreative.co.
That's the ad read right there.
We are sponsoring. We can say whatever we want. But the other thing is the consideration cycle, right? Like, I get it. The consideration cycle is sort of flawed, but because the consideration isn't necessarily the first time someone hears about you. It's when they see, and then they're actually, okay, I'm considering buying.
Yeah.
And I think attribution becomes more flawed the smaller that actual consideration cycle is, which for most brands is not very long, right? Like if you get someone to consider you to buy, you're talking like 7 to 28 days.
That's where like
you're not talking a year. Like no one's like
more sense
researching you for a year.
When you're paying for a $1,500 cookware set, like obviously you're not even making that purchase within 28-day click.
Yeah.
Most of the time, probably not, right?
Probably
so like
maybe a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a client that sells like motorcycles, right? You know, $5,000 products, like e-motorcycles, you know, and their consideration window is 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
In those spaces, it starts to...
I would still bet that Meta's the most incremental.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Now, they're not making hundreds of millions, so we would never introduce that.
I think I have two problems. One is...
in their situation, it's actually YouTube, but yeah.
Yeah. When you start making decisions off of what Triple Whale is telling you, I think that's where I start to have a little bit of a pause. We just do this weird thing with attribution tools where it's like we, for some reason, think that they aren't experiencing signal loss. And it's like the reality is like they all have some sort of signal loss.
Yeah.
And so to overvalue that over like the only attribution that never lies is your bank account, that's where it's like just backing into Shopify, keep it simple. This is actually what's coming in, cash in the door.
Yeah, what's so funny...
What he means by signal loss, just to define that, is...
Thank you, Mark.
When we're talking about like pixels, in the digital world, that's a signal, right? Like, hey, I have a signal of somebody because the pixel's tracking this person. But A, pixel tracking has gotten worse.
Yep.
And B, there's tons of signals that happen outside of a pixel. So what you can capture in a pixel is already limited to some degree.
Yeah.
And then, you know, post iOS,
totally. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then after that, there's tons of signals happening that you just have zero knowledge about or control over.
AKA somebody seeing your product and saying, hey, where did you get that?
Yeah.
Right?
Perfect example.
Right. I mean,
and there's tons of stuff online that you can't control. Like the pixel isn't tracking every little step of somebody online. It just isn't.
One of my favorite podcast episodes we've ever done is still to this date the very first podcast episode we did. It's titled The Marketing Apocalypse. And we deem it as...
Besides mine? Previous?
Yes, besides yours.
Yeah.
Besides yours.
Yeah. My favorite podcast episode of 2021.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yours was
It's kind of when everyone was freaking out about like when iOS hit and...
Yeah, and it was essentially like
overnight the ROAS went down.
The episode is all about how advanced we have come with technology, yet how broken everything is. Mm-hmm. Right? Where like at the end of the day, it's like tools, even like we have one of these tools, by the way. We sell Bestie AI. Like that's a tool that can potentially complicate your business. And sometimes we overthink the idea of...
Well, we tell people all the time, like you should not be using surveys for attribution. Like you should be using surveys to understand your customer.
Totally. Yeah.
Like attribution is like, I mean, that's fine. You can, like, again, it's fine to have a baseline. Like it's fine to say, hey,
really
where did you first hear about us?
Say word of mouth.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you see a huge gap, like
just
a delta,
basing decision making off of it.
Yeah, but you can't just be like everything. This is the true metric all the time.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole podcast is literally about just like, hey, if you just eliminated every tool you used besides the basics, I need Shopify, I need Meta, I need Klaviyo, I need an SMS tool. Anything else? Google Analytics?
What about
Google Sheets?
There's an argument that Elevar,
sure,
like some kind of pixel. I mean,
yeah. But you know, you get the point. The point that I'm trying to make is like,
I think it depends on the complexity of the funnel.
If you're a brand under $20 million and you just had those like 4 or 5 tools, would you simplify your whole business and be able to maybe be better? I bet the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So
stop listening to podcasts. Besides this one.
Well,
Go listen to Marketing Apocalypse, and then you can stop listening.
You never have to listen to us again.
Us again.
I mean, in fact, if you're still listening to us for that long, thank you, but I can barely listen to myself for that long. So yeah.
I like that attribution. I think that's a good take. Should we go one more? What's one more good one? You got one?
No, I want to go back to what Cody said though. Like a lot about business is being able to make sound decisions, right? So like when we're talking about like, how do you make a sound decision? Sometimes it's gut instincts too. Like not everything is data, but when you're doing digital marketing, the reason why it's important to eliminate more things to look at is because, again, you're adding additional signals that will only create noise in the way you're trying to make a decision. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, the most important thing, like you said, is the bottom line, which is how much money are you making or losing? Mm-hmm. What's the profit? Like that's all that really matters at the end of the day. It's not what your ROAS is or what your conversion rate is, although all those things can matter. But it's, again, like I always think about like a car dashboard, right? Like if you're racing a car, like you're really paying attention to like your RPMs, right? Your gear and your speedometer. Like you're not looking at the radio while you're racing and like messing around. Like you're very focused on a very few things.
Focus is underrated.
And that's all that really matters like in business. So like I love what Cody said, because as business owners and even us as marketers, right? Like a lot of times there's so much that glitters, but it's not all gold. And so like you have to focus on the gold, which is your bottom line. And that's all that matters. When you move something, does it move your bottom line or does it not?
What a line. That's a good line.
Glitters and golds?
Well, I know it's a song.
Well,
what song is that?
I thought it was just a phrase.
It is a phrase, but there's a song, but you just put it together.
Well, it's from Led Zeppelin, yeah.
Is that it? Led Zeppelin?
Yeah, I just can't remember if it's Stairway to Heaven. I think it's Stairway to Heaven. Maybe.
I can hear it in a song. I just can't think of what it is.
All that glitters isn't gold. Yeah.
I don't know. It's not. It's not Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, it is.
You're going to feel so stupid. At least the one I'm...
Who feels stupid?
It's Smash Mouth. It's the song on Shrek.
Oh, yeah, that one says it too.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of at least. It could be Led Zeppelin. Funny story about Smash Mouth. One time, like they're like a nobody band anymore.
It's your favorite band, right?
Yeah, of course. All-Star?
90s, yeah. We like 10 years ago, we were out to dinner at this like outdoor mall area here in Utah, and I heard All-Star being played, but you could tell it wasn't through like the speaker system.
They were just live at a small concert?
Yes. They were just live. It was Smash Mouth just there, and we were like, "What in heaven's name?" Like nobody, like this is what they resorted to, and we ended up staying for the whole concert. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, it is Stairway to Heaven, but they imply it. It's not said exactly like that.
All that glitters.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold.
Only shooting stars.
I mean, I would add into what you're saying, Mark, about making sure that those are connected to the goals that you guys have.
Yeah.
Right? Like, are we leveling up to the top line and bottom line goals that you guys have over the next 12 months?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what are we doing here?
Yeah, totally.
So many brands that just don't have that clear.
How should a business set goals though?
I would say number one, based on historicals, based on the current trajectory of the brand, how do we show improvement here?
I want to do 10x.
Yeah, that's where we come in and reset expectations, like in the forecast. Very conservative. But I would just say, yeah, most people forecast top down, like black magic, like, oh, I want to hit, like kind of like what you said.
This is what I want.
Yeah, this is like, I want to do 100 million. Let's just put it in a spreadsheet. That sounds good.
They're just conjuring up expectations.
Yeah.
I mean, the goal of forecasting is to show you where you're off, not where you're right. And so I think that's where you want to reconcile it each month and see, like, are you on track with what you guys are doing? But to exactly your point, like, is this doing what I'm looking to achieve ultimately? Because some brands, like, they want to ski 15 hours a week and collect a cash cow, and some brands are looking to get acquired within a year, right? It's like very different
goals,
which leads to very different targets.
Totally.
Yeah.
And very different spend levels. And so it's kind of like, you got to know where you're going on a road trip. Otherwise you're just driving.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the baseline of expectations is like, you're looking for some kind of growth year over year, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, we have this conversation with brands sometimes, and it's like, hey, I'm stressed. I don't know if I want to do this. It's like, then don't. Like you don't why are you trying to grow?
Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah.
Like let's just be efficient. Like you can just be super efficient. If you're happy with this profit number every month that's going into your pocket and you want to go ski 15 days a week, like you said, or 15 days a month.
No, for sure. I have brands in my mind right now that were former clients or current clients that are just like, dude, this like I think a lot of brands fell into the trap of 2020, 2021, 2022 even, and then started seeing decline. And then it was like the comparisons of year over year that like got them into a really bad spot.
Sure.
Because it was like, oh, I'm seeing this year over year crazy growth. And it's like, that wasn't real, one. Yeah. And two, it's just like you're setting the wrong expectations.
Why wasn't it real though?
COVID?
I know, but like what about COVID made that inflated?
Everybody being online.
Well, you upended an entire shopping behavior.
Yeah.
Right? Like one, when you go from being online, let's call it pre-COVID 5 hours a day to COVID being 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Like
well, let's use Peloton for example, right? It's like, does everybody start working out from home? Is that the norm? No. And so you see like stock and then like come back down to reality, right? Like, it wasn't going to be like the long-term thing.
Well, not only that, but then another thing to add to that a lot of people forget that happened was, production got stopped.
Yeah.
Though POs were paid.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody was refunding. So what ended up happening was stuff that should have been there over Black Friday of COVID year didn't show up. So, but then it all showed up.
Everything got pushed inventory-wise to 2021.
Right. Yeah. And then what did they have to do? Tons of brands had to discount all of this product that was so delayed that was not ready. Like it wasn't like when you're ordering, for example, people buy different apparel in October than they do in February, even though the month temperatures could be similar, right? Yeah. But people are buying swim in February and they're buying sweaters in October. And when you have a crap load of hoodies and jeans or whatever, that's so hard. That's so freaking hard to sell that kind of stuff in February, March, April. So what did all these brands have to do? They discounted it. And so they had these successful revenue months.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have never done $1 million in February. That's a dead month for me.
Yeah.
You know, but I did $1 million. So like that added also to it, right? It's like not only you had a bunch of people online, but you also just had these like a deluge.
I don't even know that was a word. That was above my pay grade.
A deluge of product coming in that you had to get rid of.
Utah word.
Quickly. The good Utah word.
Also, people got free money.
That's true. Yeah, very true.
That's true.
I mean, everyone got free money. Yeah. So, and a lot of people weren't let go like they thought.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I just wanted to
trace this bubble.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad we brought that up because expectations, like we always talk about expectations of like what people used to have from Facebook of like 2016. And it's like, yeah, your organic's just not there anymore, man. Sorry. Like it's just not. So you can't, like when your organic went from 80% of your referral traffic and your referral traffic made up 70% of your total site traffic to now it's 15%, 10%. Well, then that also changes ad expectations pretty dramatically for your growth.
Well, yeah. And
then COVID.
And then your CAC.
Buying behavior has drastically changed over 2 years.
Yeah. I hate that statement of like, I wish I spent more money back then. I'm like, you're going to say that about this year.
So true. Same thing people will say about housing, right? Oh, I should have bought that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, well, my dad who could have bought a house for 50 grand, I'm sure like he like
wishes
50 grand was a lot harder to do back then,
sure.
you know, but you think about it now and you're like, oh my gosh, I'd buy 9, you know?
There's all kinds of hot takes. TikTok.
No, duh.
Does TikTok advertising work?
Maybe sometimes.
Are you unconvinced?
We just like if
I have one case
brand?
of when it works. No, just like not one brand, but one
just not the best
type of
scenario. It's
okay.
When it's creator led and the creator has a big influence on TikTok.
Or when it's organic led, meaning they have a really awesome presence already there.
And there's a price point too to this, like
for sure
under
TikTok
$50.
shops, Yeah.
AOV. Is that what you mean?
Definitely not bullish on TikTok, but
I'm bullish on organic content over there. Because
Sure,
if you can get it there, then generally you can see it win. But we had a client who she was massive audience on TikTok, like massive audience, and then half of the audience on Instagram. Huge fitness influencer, scaled incredibly big. And they thought the entire time that, you know, in the early stages, they thought 90% of their budget was going to be over on TikTok. And it ended up being like 80-20. Like that 20% did well, but to put, like, it was still Meta.
Yeah.
Meta is
Google,
still king, and always
YouTube. I mean,
not always, but
will
always. Be for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. It's hard to.
I don't see a future there. It's not.
What about Google?
What about it? Like, do I like the channel or
just what's your take on it? Is it
growth?
Does it
demand capture?
Is it incremental for
Demand
brands?
capture? Incremental? No, I don't think so. Oh, we've never seen it be incremental. Like in terms of comparison.
Yeah.
I mean, like, most of the time when we're running Google too, and especially when we audit it, it's just like a lot of not hard exclusions in place. Even on their brand, they're hitting a very low ROAS. Yeah. So to be honest, we don't have a horse in the race. We just view like definitely bullish on Meta, but it's just because of what we see.
I think there's only one scenario where Google is incremental, but again, like you said, it is demand capture. So like you're always going to be confined to what the traffic is on Google for what it is. It's always just problem solution. It tends to be something like that's more niche. That's like it's solving a specific problem that you're not going to be able to, like, it's hard. It's just harder to convey that to a broad audience because like your total obtainable audience is actually quite small.
Right.
In the scheme of things, but they're all searching for like a solution.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah,
right. So like, for example, is
arthritis,
like bedwetting, right? Like it's going to be hard to advertise bedwetting to a broad audience.
Yeah.
But there's people searching for that all the time. And like so you can be incremental to a point. So like, but it's, you're not gonna be able to generate demand.
Yeah.
YouTube though, like you can on YouTube, but like YouTube is very dependent on your creative.
App loving, big app loving guy.
Oh yeah, app loving.
Stop.
Huge app loving guy over
we
here.
need to stop.
I'm
not taking that one seriously.
I hear it's the best channel.
Yeah,
your peers say it's the best.
I
channel
bought
ever.
all their stock.
Yeah.
Am I good?
I don't know.
Be the intro to the episode. App loving?
I mortgaged my house. App loving stock. Is it good?
They paid us to say that.
What do you think the future of agencies is?
That's a really good question. I think my hot take is agencies will always exist because people always want someone to blame.
It's actually one of the best points I think you've ever brought up about this whole world. Because obviously they're going to change big time.
Now, how an agency operates is going to change dramatically, right? But ultimately, like, my big belief is if you're a brand owner, like AI, sure, even as good as it's going to get, and look, I'm talking like within the next 5 years. Maybe I'm wrong.
Could be sooner, but yeah.
But Google has existed for 20 years and you could Google almost anything, but it's just like one extra thing to deal with.
Sure.
So I think agencies will always exist. Now, how they exist and how they operate within an agency.
And how many of them exist.
And how many of them exist. Like that's
going to go down
change.
for sure.
Yeah,
kind of what I was just saying earlier.
Yeah. So I think the future of agencies is very much more aligned with, hey, like it's an integrated partner into your business, right? They're bringing more forecasting. They're using AI to create better automations within their system for creative. You know, obviously AI will play a huge part in all of this. Like the new Google, was it the Vision API or Vision AI?
Flow?
But their video generation.
Yeah. Is it called Vision or Flow?
Can't remember.
Yeah. I know what you're talking
but
about.
They don't sponsor the pod.
It's crazy. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Now, does that mean content creation is going to cease to exist? No, because again, you need real stuff. But as an agency, it's like, dude,
for sure.
I'm 1 year away from being able to do stuff on my computer that looks 99% of the way there. That just speeds the iteration up. So you're not always waiting and bottlenecked. So like the free flow of creative, the free flow of ideas will be very beneficial.
I think the agencies will be able to come to a brand, for example, with a lot more value in one place versus a lot more value in having to go to 5 places. You know, for example, every brand needs product photography for their website. And I'm not saying that product photography is gone, but I could easily say, hey, we now offer that. We can do all of that for you
through 4.0.
And just like that, we have it all.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Like the other day, I just created a model named Ashley in 4.0 who can be on every single one of we have a jewelry brand, and I've uploaded all of our pieces of jewelry.
Yeah.
And I think I've got 80% of our product shots on a brand new model that looks perfect, that
looks organic too.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying was like when the execution gets commoditized, the strategy becomes the thing.
Yep.
And that's what agencies, if you're an agency listening to this, that's what you need to pivot towards hard. Otherwise you're going to be gone. And kind of like similar to if you only run Facebook ads or if you only run email and you're an email agency, you need to pivot hard.
Yeah,
like it's, or it just needs to be like your strategic value needs to be 10x, because I just got pitched a tool the other day that does, like, it made me think like, well, we can just add email to our agency because we could just white label your tool. He was like 100%. So I'm like, okay, in that world, single channel agencies die, and also your strategy better be on point, and you better be entrenched to like the actual business economics.
Where does SaaS go?
Same thing. I think it's actually synonymous.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously this is total speculation and just a caveat, we're not rooting for anyone to lose their jobs here, right? Like we're not like rooting for people.
Because we are in the line of fire of that too.
You know?
Yeah.
But I just don't see how software doesn't go to zero.
Yeah.
And so what I do think though that agencies can provide is you can be a strategic partner on how to implement AI, using AI to create those one-off tools that help your client, right? So you can have a technology partner within the agency that is basically the orchestrator of these AI models or agents to do these things, right?
It's similar to the conversation with like the attribution. It's like if I just give you, a bunch of tools, but you don't know how to use them. So like all it is kind of overwhelming. It's like very synonymous with that.
It suffocates you.
Yeah, conversation.
Yeah. But dude, I'm telling you, the point of somebody always is going to want to point a finger at something. Like no, because like if you let AI do everything and you don't win, which will happen.
And that's not a jab at brands. Like that's just
it's also
how life works.
Agencies are cheaper.
Yeah.
It's just cheaper. It's faster. You're getting a breadth of knowledge.
It's less risk.
Yeah, all the reasons agencies they're pros.
You have 20. You've got a group that has insights into 20 different brands.
Right.
40 different brands. Depending on how big they are, and that just changes things.
Very good looking men.
Also great company. I think great company. We're fun people. So
we are fun people.
I think so. I've enjoyed this little episode.
Carl Malone, if you're out there.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited.
Trevor drags me onto calls when clients want to talk about like UFOs and conspiracy theories.
I'm excited that you're an app loving guy. I love that about you.
Big app loving guy.
80% of your budget's in app loving.
I have a sticker on my truck.
Yeah.
App loving.
Yeah.
Have you heard of it?
App loving for life.
You see app loving, tell him I say hi.
All right, brother.
How many Candy Crush grandmas are there to advertise to?
My brother-in-law's
my mom's one.
My brother-in-law, he's not grandma, but he's got to be on level like 1,000 in Candy Crush. He's been playing Candy Crush
New York Times
since I've been
games.
in the family. 15 years. Just crushing.
I do want to hear from App 11 though. App 11, if you're listening, we're just joking around.
No, we're not.
But I have not seen you work for any of our brands. I'm not saying you don't work. I just would love to see.
Talk about a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, I would just love to see what the actual. It was like what we were talking about when TikTok shots went hot.
Yeah.
Everyone was talking about how great it was on Twitter, right? Like TikTok
shots. They had a longer
shops.
run than App 11 though.
And
I will give them credit. They had like a 6-month heyday because of subsidies, but
yeah,
that did help.
And he would ask me about it all the time, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, keep the main thing, and the main thing is meta.
That crushed Paul. He has a weird last name, but he runs a like an eyelash makeup brush.
Okay.
And 6 months. But we had him on our podcast. The thing that actually helped him scale on TikTok Shops was he had been seeding, heard that term somewhere, TikTok creators for like years on that.
I think it comes from London Lazarson.
Yes.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
Yep. No. Yeah. So like, there's so many things that why he crushed. It's like his product was already in the wild. He's already had a relationship with the creators. It's like if you're just starting 3 months in to all these subsidies, it's just you didn't see the crazy.
TikTok Shop still works, and we probably need to start ending the podcast. But TikTok Shops,
This is a long one. Let's go 3 hours.
It still works for less expensive.
We're gonna go politics
problem
after this.
solution. You know,
Yeah.
problem solution.
Well, low AOV, like
AOV,
there was some like gimmicky stuff to it too. Like if you had a fun product, right? Like a fidget spinner type product. Those tended to do pretty decent, but
If it was fidget spinner,
some gadget.
like 8 years ago,
yeah, like
when they
gadgets
first came out with,
yeah,
like a laser
like
pointer.
not literally fidget spinners, but you know what I'm talking about, like
Yeah.
the gadgets, like things that are like, oh, one off, that's cool, I'll get it for now. But no, it was never going to be like the main thing.
A golf ball that explodes when you hit it.
Yeah.
Yes,
For 6 weeks.
but going back to what Cody said, it's just focus. Like guys, there's a million channels out there, and cool. You know, like do you want to go after all of them, or do you just want to focus on the one that's been proven to
Not
be the
everything
best?
that glitters is gold.
TLDR.
That's true.
Focus.
Hashtag smash
Chase
mouth.
the bottom line. App loving.
In and out.
TLDR. Yep.
Chase the bottom line if that's your goal.
Yeah.
That's the asterisk I would put on it.
Yeah. I like it. All right. Kynship with a K.com.
It's always
No,
with
it's
a K,
Kynship
but
with a Y.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah. Sorry.
I was like, it's always with a K, but
Kynship with a Y. That's what I meant to say. Thank you. .com.
You
.co.
see, you guys spelled
.co.
Kynship.co.
We're .co too.
.co's.
they spelled Kynship like Utah moms spell their kids' names.
Yeah. Kinley. Yeah.
I hate that
Yeah.
that was compared to, but I'm in your house, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta just
Welcome.
bite my tongue.
Welcome. All right, brother. It was good having you on.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody. We'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for listening to the Unstoppable Marketer podcast. Please go rate and subscribe the podcast, whether it's good or bad. We want to hear from you because we always want to make this podcast better. If you want to get in touch with me or give me any direct feedback, please go follow me and get in touch with me. I am at the Trevor Crump on both Instagram and TikTok. Thank you, and we will see you next week.